I'm Angela Seals, and this is Peak Radar Live. This week, the new Weidner Field opens to fans for the first time. Fans of the Colorado Springs Switchback soccer team will be playing here on the field that you now see in this beautiful aerial shot. And also, they'll be welcoming fans of live music and a lot of other fun public events that they have planned throughout the year at the new state-of-the-art stadium in downtown Colorado Springs. When those fans arrive, they will experience a surprising amount of strong art and design, as well as the events that Weidner Field is putting on. And today, Peak Radar Live is taking you to the new stadium to see that art and design that is now part of the public art in downtown Colorado Springs. Live with me now is our On the Street correspondent, Jennifer DeDominici. Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for taking us to such an exciting new location in downtown.
Hi, Angela. It's exciting to be here. I am here with LeRoy Neiman, who is the strategic project lead for Weidner Apartment Homes and all of this, right? Some of this. Laura, thank you for being here today and for introducing us to this amazing sculpture.
Oh, you're welcome.
It is called the Epicenter, correct?
Yes, it is.
This was a dream of Dean Weidner. Is that true? He commissioned this piece.
He certainly did.
And then how did it go from his brain to being here on the corner of Sawatch and Cimarron?
Oh, well, thanks for the opportunity to talk about it today, Jennifer. And so Dean Weidner wanted to establish something that was a gift to the city of Colorado Springs and have it be a placemaking statement. And so he had an idea within reason that he sketched out. And then Perkins and Will, our architectural firm, put some ideas to paper. And then Springs Fabrication, Tom Neppel, local, over by the airport, did the design work, which then produced this 35 feet tall, 65 feet in diameter, this piece of wonder sculpture, which has some function to it as well.
Amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more about the function of it?
Absolutely. So the entrance that most people who attend a game or a concert or a festival will be right off of Sawatch and Cimarron, right over here. And we wanted to get them safely off the street and off the sidewalk. And so this is more or less a switchback, not to play on words, but
and an epicenter.
Yes, to go around and while you're waiting in line, have some visual interest and maybe take a selfie or look at the skyline or look at the mountains on the other side. And so it's to get safely people queued up off the street.
What a great idea. It really is an entryway into the city and into the stadium.
Yes.
So this, it seems to be moving even while it's just standing on the corner, but this gets even more dynamic at night. You are saying it
absolutely does.
It do?
And this Friday, our home game, a lot of people will experience what goes on with the 7,000 LED lights that are embedded within these rings that then reflect off of the sculpture. And it can be timed to music, and it can make a statement with different colors. It can have a beat to it, and so it will light up the night.
Appropriately dynamic art
for
our city. Excellent. Why don't we take a little walk down so we can get the view as if we were leaving the stadium.
Absolutely.
And then we can see some more artwork that is adorning the stadium here.
Yes.
And as we walk, you were saying that the construction of this piece was also pretty It was
an engineering wonder. Yeah. These rings were meant to look as if they were floating or hovering over this sphere. And you can see we pretty well pulled that off, right? There, of course, are legs supporting it, but they're cantered off to the side so they're not as prominent. So it gives the appearance actually as if it is something that could take flight.
Absolutely looks that way, and you barely do notice those legs.
Yes.
It's incredible. And around the corner here, we are going to see some murals, correct?
Yes.
Now, these are the work of LeRoy Neiman.
Yes, indeed.
And he was a painter for the Olympics, correct?
5 different Olympics.
Five different Olympics. His first Olympics was in 1960, the 1960 Winter Games, I believe.
Yes.
Do you know when he began? Which is the first of these paintings? I guess we could look and see.
Yeah, we'll walk down
and see
and say a little bit about each one. But if I could just mention that it took a partnership to make this happen for public art, and it started with our relationship with the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Museum and Hall of Fame, because as you may know, they had the LeRoy Neiman studio within. So they had a relationship with the LeRoy Neiman Foundation out of New York City, and they created this introduction for us. And then the Downtown Development Authority with Susan Edmondson got interested as well. And so it took this collaboration with the LeRoy Neiman Foundation to actually bring these to life outside. But I will tell you why they were so interested is this is formerly on a piece of blighted land. Many will probably remember what was here just 5 years ago. And they wanted LeRoy Neiman's artwork to be available to anyone from any walk of life 24/7, because that's who he was. He came from very disadvantaged circumstances. So to have it on the outside of the stadium, you don't have to buy a ticket to get in. You don't even have to own a car. You can just walk and look at his artwork and be inspired. So I just need to tell you a little bit about that partnership.
I love that. I love that. Now these are 9x12.
Yes.
How did they get from their original form to this on the wall?
They were digitally reproduced and then hung by a firm to withstand the elements. So we believe that the fabric in which they were printed on has a life of about 8 years, and then they will need to be replaced because, of course, we have hail and wind and sun and all of those different elements here. Yes. But that's how they're digital reproductions.
Excellent. Well, and speaking of the elements, can we go back to the Epicenter?
Yes.
Because this is also a great view.
Yes.
You were saying that part of the construction, the engineering testing of this piece, will you describe a little bit some of the testing they had to do?
Yeah. So it's one thing to have a vision, and then it's another thing for it to work from an engineering standpoint. And so we actually had to test the rings in a wind tunnel to ensure that they would not take flight and become
literally fly
too aerodynamic and then lift the whole thing off the ground. So that was one. But another interesting one is, I mentioned hail just a couple of minutes ago. We actually had to use this golf ball gun, that shot golf balls at the sphere to make sure that it wouldn't dent from hail that could come down upon it. And so there was a number of different aspects, including, by the way, the reflection off the sphere to pilots in the sky. So a number of different things that Tom Neppel and his Springs Fab crew did to ensure that this could withstand the elements and not be a safety hazard one way or the other.
Fascinating. Oh, okay. And so a similar process, but maybe a little less intense to get these to be able to last on the wall. So shall we walk a little and take a peek?
So opening ceremony is very important, and there's 2 opening ceremonies that are up here.
Okay.
And that is, of course, like you said, he's the artist of the Olympiad with 5 different, but he did so much more, by the way. He did boxing and he did jazz, but he's known for his Olympics. So that's the reason that we chose this particular one from 1984. And then, of course, soccer.
Of course.
Giving homage to the Switchbacks FC. Go Switchbacks Friday night.
Opening ceremonies. Beautiful.
And then even though you cannot swim, of course, at Weidner Field, we are home to USA Swimming. Okay, so we did choose some of these just to represent the presence that Colorado Springs has in Olympic City, USA. So that is the reason for that one. And also, we just love the outstanding colors.
So lovely. Yes, it's gorgeous. The colors are stunning. Even in the bright sunlight, they're really vibrant.
And then, of course, track. From 1976, you can see all those athletes in motion.
And it's really interesting to look at them so closely. Yes. I had seen smaller where it's a more panned out view, but to see them up close, they seem to move from whichever angle you are approaching.
Very vivid, very much alive. In mixed doubles tennis, that we chose also for the colors
just beautiful.
And the movement.
The colors kind of look like our red rocks, don't they? There's a little in our sky. Yeah.
And then here I want to talk a little bit about his bio on the wall. So we, of course, had support from the foundation in writing his bio, and much has been written about him. And before I forget, this will probably be of great interest to many. His birthday, his 100th birthday, is June 8th coming up. So just around the corner.
So exciting.
So it just kind of gives me goosebumps when we had the unveiling of his art to know that we did this on his 100th birthday. But anyway, we took a number of different biographies that was written specifically about LeRoy Neiman, but we wanted to make sure that we talked about his very humble beginnings. Okay, so he was born poor. He was abandoned by his father. But also he was an Army cook, and he got his start from tattooing with pencil and pen on his fellow Army men's. So that's how he got his artist start.
Wow.
And then a little flavor. He also was known in Playboy in the 50s for this woman called the Femlin, very robust, a woman, but she actually represented women's rights back at the time. And so do a little study of the Femlin. And so we just talked about all the different chapters he had in his life, but went back to, and I love the closing, is when he saw the world up close enough to paint its brassy life of conspicuous consumption. So the affluent, I never lost sight of what it looked like from the bottom up, because imagination comes out of not having things. And so we hoped that would call to budding artists and just budding people in general. They want to be somebody when they grow up. I hope they can look to him and say, maybe I could be like LeRoy Neiman.
Wow, so much inspiration at the stadium, artistically, athletically.
Yes.
So many ways that people can dream here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Now, this was made possible by the LeRoy Neiman Foundation and Dean Weidner again.
Absolutely,
correct?
with his investment, and also a grant from the Downtown Development Authority here in Colorado Springs, because they know the importance of having public art, and they certainly wanted something along Saguache, across from our very good neighbors there at the warehouse. They have a nice mural on their building as well.
Yes.
So they gave us some financial support too.
Excellent. Now, you said maybe we'll take a walk and
Great.
we can see some of these murals and get back to the Epicenter a little bit. On opening, you said that they can actually time the lighting of the Epicenter sculpture to be with, like, if a goal is scored.
Yes.
And will they do that for both sides?
I
Just for
don't know if
switchbacks?
it's both sides. I'd have to think about that. I think the answer is no. But maybe it depends on who we're playing.
I guess
I don't know.
Might be true. Yes. Well, this is all so beautiful. This is all so beautiful. And as we approach, perhaps we'll be getting the view of if we were coming to the game on Friday.
Yes.
And as you're waiting in line with all of the other people who will be so excited to witness this, you have all of this beauty to observe along the way. You're safely in line, and it changes every step you take. It's so cool.
It'll change with the seasons.
Yeah.
It changes depending on the time of the day.
Yeah.
The skyline, the clouds. Ever
yes.
changing. And by the way, the generator you hear in the background, and I apologize for that, but we're working very hard to get some finishing touches on Weidner Field before Friday evening. So
thank you so much.
Canopies up, that will cover the seats and do some different last-minute touch-ups. So that's that noise.
Okay. Thank
We're
you
not
so
hearing
much.
it.
You're welcome.
It was such a lovely treat to be able to see this and to get all of this information from you. Thank you for your time.
Oh my
today.
goodness. Thank you for the opportunity, Jennifer. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Our
Rebecca.
thanks to both of
And
you. Thank
Angela.
you, Laura, and thank you, Jennifer. Oh, it's so exciting to see the things that are beginning here in the Pikes Peak region, including the opening of Weidner Field and all of the creativity that infuses that process. Our thanks to the staff at Weidner Field, and also to LeRoy Neiman, and to our camera person, Rebecca Heyer from the Cultural Office. You'll find upcoming events at Weidner Field on peakradar.com in the weeks, months, and years ahead. Thanks to everyone who was involved in this exciting moment for our city.